Hello and welcome to TSL Talk for round 11, the round 11 after the week off for the state game, and it's been a pretty tough week for Tassie footy. Not only did the state team get thumped by 79 points by Queensland on the Gold Coast, but the TSL's lost, and Tasmanian football has lost one of its champions on the field in Brett Gapin, who's been forced to retire due to a serious neck injury. But Brett joins us today. Brett, thanks very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Stubbs.
Has the realisation set in yet that your playing career's over?
Yeah, it has. I probably feared the worst when I fell that night. I mean, the fall wasn't that bad, but sort of being in hospital with pins and needles, I sort of did fear the worst, and unfortunately I was right. So, look, it has sunk in, and I'm sort of coping pretty well at the moment. I mean, it's probably going to worry me more come finals times, but at the moment I'm actually okay with it. So I'm just got to move on, and I've sort of put all my time and effort into my coaching now.
Will the injury pose any long-term health risks for you?
Don't think so. No, I mean, talking to the neurosurgeon about that, and he said, look, going forward, hopefully it'll be should be okay. It's touch and go whether I need another operation on the disc above where I had the old one fused. So that's about 50-50 at this stage, and I won't know probably that until the next 6 weeks, and that's why I've got to wear the neck brace and sort of give it the best chance to sort of heal itself. But long term, I should be able to do normal things, just obviously no contact stuff.
How close were you to doing long-term permanent damage?
Yes, one of those things, I suppose. I mean, because the spinal cord's so close to the discs, I mean, there's not much between, not damaging it at all and I suppose being permanent. So, look, the spinal cord did have a bit of a hot spot on it, which I suppose, says that it's been bumped into fairly hard. So I'm not sure how much it takes to, I suppose, sever the spinal cord, but I suppose it was a bit scary when you see the hot spot on the spinal cord.
Now, you've had a terrific career. You've played over 100 VFL games for the Devils, captained the Devils, playing coach in the TSL's first premiership. Is there an individual highlight that stands out for you?
Certainly, yeah, the premiership last year. I suppose, my first year as playing coach to win the premiership, and I suppose the way we did it was pretty special. The first year as senior footballer, I was lucky enough to play in a senior premiership, but I suppose you appreciate it a bit more, I suppose, as you get older. But certainly the premiership lies on top. But look, my Devils days I really enjoyed. I think back when the Devils were really big and probably the biggest thing in town in relation to sport and stuff, yeah, it was fantastic. And when we're playing finals in front of 12,000 people, that certainly just sits under the premiership last year.
And what must have been one of the major disappointments for you then when the Devils program was cut?
Yeah, I was. I mean, I openly admitted it. I was pretty devastated, and that's been. I was a life member of the football club, and then end of the day, I suppose you're not a life member of sort of anything anymore. So that was disappointing. But as I said, I had lots of fond memories back with the Devils. But I suppose the pain soon healed a year later when I won a premiership in my first year.
Now you'd kicked 62 goals in 10 games until the injury, and without being too modest, what's the injury going to do to Clarence's premiership hopes?
No, to be totally honest, I don't think it'll have any bearing. I think the way we move the football, and that's not being modest by any stretch of the imagination, it's certainly been our ball movement. And if you look at the stats in relation to my uncontested marks, I reckon probably 75-80% have been uncontested, which shows you it's more been about our ball movement rather than anything sort of spectacular by me. And look, we're going to try a few different guys down there. Obviously, yeah, some guys are going to have to stand up and kick more goals, no doubt about that. But I think if we continue to play the same way that we have been, and look, that's predictable, and I think everyone knows the way we play, but I think if we continue to play that way, it won't have any major effect.
So you're going to have to do a complete restructure of your forward line?
Not at all, no. The setup will be the same, just probably the same. Different guys will go through that position that I sort of have been playing, that sort of 30 metres, 20, 30 metres out roll. So got a number of guys that can do that. There's 5 or 6 guys, and look, we had a bit of a go at training on Tuesday, and they actually did a bit better than I did, so it's a bit of a concern. So maybe I should have put some other guys there a bit earlier. But yeah, no, I think it's going to have no bearing, but it might take a couple of weeks to sort of get the hang of it.
Yeah, were you surprised by the state team's performance against Queensland on Saturday?
Yeah, I was, certainly. Definitely. I thought we'd go into the game with a good chance. I knew Cleve Hughes was a very good player, having played against him at VFL level, so I knew he was always going to be a handful for the Tassie side. But I thought the side they picked would go up there and put in a very good performance. So to be beaten how they were was a massive shock. So I suppose bitterly disappointment from a Tassie point of view. I know Matthew was very disappointed, and the Clarence guys that were involved were disappointed with their performances and as a team.
Is it a fair reflection of where the TSL is at the moment?
Well, I don't know, because I'm not sure what could, in 12 months I don't think our comp's gone backwards that far in 12 months and the Queensland comp's gone forward that far in 12 months. So I think it's one of those days. I mean, it's certainly a bad day. But the TSL at the moment, I suppose, in a really tough situation in relation going forward. I think last year and its first year was fantastic, no doubt about that. I reckon it's plateaued out a bit this year. I reckon the competition's probably stayed at the same level. I suppose the challenge is for all the clubs to strive for greater excellence and also from an administration point of view, build a strong comp that will enable that to happen.
Now to have a look at the games for round 11. First up, we've got North Launceston v Hobart at Aurora Stadium, 5th versus 6th.
Yeah, look, North Launceston were really good against us. So they got very good smalls, and I think they run the ball really well. So I think North Launceston will win that one.
Probably, or definitely the match of the round at Devonport Oval, 2nd v 3rd. Devonport won 7 in a row against Launceston, who are also in good form. Yeah,
it's certainly two of the form sides of the competition. I reckon Launceston will win that one in a very close one.
You guys have got Lauderdale down at Lauderdale. I noticed that Charlie Rewalt, the younger brother of Jack's, been named on an extended interchange bench. Will he be making his senior debut?
Look, it's touch and go at the moment. We've got a few guys that not under an injury cloud, but got to go through a bit of a fitness test tonight. So look, we won't take any risks. So look, if we get a couple of injuries, certainly Charlie might get thrown into his first senior game, but also I think he's still a bit of a chance to go away with the Mariners, I believe. So it'll be I'll have to talk to Matthew and wait and see how he trains tonight.
Another interesting game at Youngtown, South Lonnie v Burnie. The last time these two played against each other, South Lonnie beat the Dockers by a point at Burnie.
Yeah, look, talking to a couple of the sides that have taken on South Launceston in the last few weeks, their tackling's been a huge improvement. So I reckon Chunky's got them going pretty well. So I reckon South will win that one.
And a vital game at North Hobart Oval, North Hobart 4th against Glenorchy 7th. Glenorchy coming off a win against Hobart before the state break, which kept their season alive.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It can be sort of a season-defining game, and from all talks, they were sort of dead and buried, and came out with a great win. And look, at North Hobart, I don't think North Hobart play North Hobart particularly well, based upon some games I've seen them play this year, and I suppose in history, Glenorchy have played the ground very well. So I reckon Glenorchy in a close one there.
All right, Brett. Well, thank you very much for coming in, and congratulations on a terrific playing career, and hope everything goes well with the neck.
Yeah, thanks, Dubsy. Cheers.
And remember, for all your TSL news and previews, pick up your copy of the Mercury or go to the Mercury online.